Welcome to Anfield Index USA. We are back from this side of the pond talking about the Reds, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that's going on in this unexpectedly mediocre season after winning the championship last year. And I am joined by my guest, Sean Thayer, a local lad, as they say, here in Spokane, Washington, in the Northwest. And I have a little story to intro Sean. I was coaching my 6-year-old's girls soccer a couple of years ago. She was probably 5 at the time. And I was wearing a kit at the time. It was a nice day, and I had my Darwin Nunez jersey on. I think it was the 22-23 Nike kit, home kit. And I get done coaching my game, and this guy comes up behind me and just like puts an arm on my shoulder and says, "Hey, up the Reds." And it's like, I'm like, who is this? And I'd never met you before, but I'm so glad you approached me because then we, exchanged numbers and we were like, okay, we're both part of this cult, so we might as well get together and, support the team. And ever since then, we've exchanged some texts. We've met for some watch parties, and it's been a joy to get to know you a little bit, Sean. So welcome, Sean Thayer, Anfield
Thanks,
Index
Ross.
USA.
Yeah, so happy to be here. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, gotta spread the word, man. Gotta spread
I
the
know.
word and gotta connect. As you know, Ross, soccer's football, if you will, is growing in the U.S. I don't want to disregard that by any means, but especially around that time, I would say it was a little unique to see a kit. And so, especially a Liverpool kit, man, we gotta say what's up. You never walk alone, all the stuff, and try to build that community. And I'm so impressed, Ross, with your efforts to build a community here in Spokane, and grateful to be a part of it.
It's been great. Yeah, I'm wearing my Spokane Zephyr. That's our local women's. We have a top flight women's pro team, and we don't live in the biggest city in the US by any stretch, but it's been cool to see professional soccer. There's a men's team that's a couple, it's not an MLS team, but it's a couple levels down. But the women's team is considered a top flight team, and the Spokane Zephyr FC and the Velocity, the men's team. It's been cool to see that,
For
building, and we
sure.
have a great little stadium downtown where people are getting excited about the sport locally. But there's a way to build local community around something that's going on, 5,000 miles away too. And so we've been, uh, it's a joy to watch soccer played at the ultimate highest levels. Not that we saw the highest level yesterday or from Liverpool really this season, except for a few occasions. But Sean, I wanted to just ask you how did you even start following the Reds?
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking. I started following them closely, I would say 2017. I also have a daughter who plays soccer. My middle daughter at the time was playing soccer. And, just background noise, if you will, on the YouTubes. Sala was turning it up, as we all know, 2017, second setting records, scoring goals left and right, and they were so fun to watch. And so I'd have that, I'd play videos for him. Of course, I'd play Messi. Of course, I'd play Maradona. Whatever else I could find on YouTube. But Salah just kept popping up, popping up, popping up, and the goals were amazing. So started playing a lot of those around in the house and as background noise. And then was having so much fun watching it. And I was like, what if I committed to this a little bit more and started looking into the English Premier League? Wouldn't say I wasn't a soccer fan at all, but very, 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 very casual. World Cup, some Sounders. I read a page two article from Bill Simmons from like 20 years ago how to pick your EPL team because obviously I was enjoying Salah, but I didn't necessarily want to be a bandwagoner either. So he had some info on Liverpool and um, started digging into them a little bit. You know, their political background also lined up with my beliefs, so definitely appreciated that as well. And at the time, they were in fourth, so I felt pretty good. It wasn't like picking the Yankees in the U.S., if you will. So um, felt pretty good about that choice and started following them a lot closer.
Yeah, I went through a really similar process. It's funny, you have to like, you know, give yourself permission to follow
Right?
a club as big as Liverpool, you know? But similar, there's so much aside from the current team. There's the history,
Yep.
the ups and downs, the tragedies that have happened, the
Yep.
general city of Liverpool and the vibe and the general like political, like you said, kind of a little bit of an underdog mentality, even as
Yep.
a really big club, that definitely was has played out in the Premier League era. We have not won the Premier League titles, the domestic titles that this team should have won, honestly. And
Hmm.
so, but yeah, I had to give myself permission, and it's kind of ironic because in my first episode, I was kind of going on and on about how I've suffered so much as a Seattle Mariners baseball fan and a Chicago Bears football fan.
Yep.
And it was like, hey, I've suffered enough. I need to choose at least someone who's in the mix. But the ultimate irony, maybe I jinxed things or something, but the Mariners they were like a few outs from getting to the World Series. And the Bears later today, I will be with extended family watching a Bears playoff game to go to you know, the game right before the Super Bowl. Anyway, so and the Reds are looking pretty mediocre in terms of their domestic title chances. So it's like, and there's no chance they're winning the league this year. So it's funny that I
You don't
was
say that, Ross. You don't know. You don't say that. We can't predict the future.
mathematically, it's still possible. Um, Especially that lovely 0-0 draw at the City Ground between Arsenal and Nottingham Forest yesterday.
Right? We were amongst
That's
friends, man. The bottom half of the table cleaned up.
that's
They're
right.
doing well. So,
Anyway, it's it's funny though. I do I follow that completely. Like you have to kind of do this research. We don't have family connections, so we have to figure out, and it became
right?
so clear, so crystal clear to me. It's like I have to follow Liverpool. And it's weird how you can go from casual soccer fan to like obsessed with everything that is happening. Um, I
Right.
I was surprised by how that happened.
You're amongst
Anyway,
friends. Yeah, man.
absolutely.
I'm a Raiders fan, football, American football. I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan in Major League Baseball, and excuse me, a New York Rangers fan in hockey. And I don't know if you know, Ross, but it's been over almost 30 years since either of those teams has won a championship. And I'm not saying that's what it's all about, but I just was feeling a lot of joy watching Mo, especially, and then
Oh yeah,
um, starting to follow the whole team. It's entertainment, right? Gets our minds off things,
absolutely.
in and out. It's those other sports. It can be a major time commitment with baseball, especially back then. Football, 3 hours. I love that the game is you're in and out in about 2 hours. You in the morning, my kiddos are still asleep. Sometimes the oldest will join me if she's feeling up to it, but it's kind of my thing to jump in, jump out, and then continue about my day and either feel a bunch of joy the rest of the day or have that burning inside me for the rest of the day, like yesterday.
Yes. Oh man, I relate to that so much. And Izzy your oldest?
Yes, yes.
Okay. She's come out to some watch parties. She's wearing a kit. Your family's
Yeah,
all in.
yeah,
It's
man.
it's I think we've done a good job at also converting our families into this cult, which is always great.
Indeed.
Um, Well, okay. I've been doing a segment called American Idiot because, hey, I know a lot of Anfield Index listeners are over in England, the UK, Ireland. Um, so I just admit, I'm kind of a newbie, and so it's been several years now, but I'm also like just still getting used to certain aspects of this sport and this league and following Liverpool. So here's my American Idiot question for the week, and I want you to do one too, because we're both self-admitted learners here. Um, here's my question: why is it such a big deal for a coach to sub someone off at half? It feels like there's like an etiquette around this that's like emotional, like, oh boy, that really sends a message if you take a guy off at half. And it's almost like it could damage him psychologically for life, or something like that. And I think last year, with the young defender that Slot pulled in the very first game, um, okay, it's Jarrell Kwanzaa. For some reason, his name escaped me for a second, but it felt like that was like a real thing, and for a young player, I can see that. He thinks he's somehow going to be a starter over Konate in this club, and then immediately just has a bad half and gets the rug pulled out from under him. And he really didn't come back from that, and now he's not with the club, and I think he's doing okay over in Germany. But the
Yeah.
deal is, why is that such a thing? Like, why can't we just take people in and out? Um, Erling Haaland got taken off yesterday for one of the first times ever, which was such a joyful thing to watch, even though watching Manchester United win a game is never something that is that joyful. But,
Yeah.
there's a joy
Pick
in
your
seeing
poison.
it's really like tough to know what to root for there. But honestly,
Hmm.
I can see how that's a big deal. And same with Salah when he gets taken out. It's rare, but and these are like world superstars. But just like I feel like I don't get this idea that like we can't be looking at the minutes that players play and the sports science and everything around like fatigue and the things that it's like we have so many players who are playing more minutes than they've ever played. And then under this manager, it feels like we have a bunch of players, young players or role players, who are not involved at all, and probably perform worse because they're not ready to go. They don't get any game time. I just feel like there needs to be, especially in cup matches and different things. Like, I want to be competitive all the time, but I honestly think it would be more competitive when you put a guy in and say, hey, we believe in you. Give us 45 here. Um, put in a shift, and we're going to save one player's legs, and we're going to get one player some real minutes to get involved. But anyway, that's
I,
my American Idiot question. Why can't we take people off at halftime without it becoming some dramatic statement?
I totally agree, Ross. Horses for courses, man. I just, I don't understand. And as I mentioned, Salah is the reason why I became a Liverpool fan. I'm still a huge fan, but that's one piece I've really struggled with. Like, dude, you're a legend. Your status is not in question. I think you can come off for 20 minutes at the end of a game and allow somebody to fill in for you and help the team, right? That's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the team, and I definitely understand. um, I'm grateful that they are passionate and that they want to be on playing all the time, but I also think you got to be realistic if you're having it or not, or if Rio has a skill set that's different than Gakpo, and he can step on and do something a little different, mix things up. Again, it doesn't mean that you're not the most amazing player of all time. It means that Slot saw something, needs to mix it up. We talk about how he's so great tactfully. That's one piece that we definitely could work on, I feel like, and I totally agree with you. Consider me American idiot too. Let's
All right.
sub earlier.
Honestly, well, in the case of Gakpo, I mean, you know, you said like let's do something a little different. I mean, the problem I'm seeing with him is he does the same thing with the ball every time he gets it. He's looking to cut
If I
back
have
in
to
on his
see
right.
him, if I have to see him do that one more time, I don't know, Ross. It's killing me, man. Love him,
It's
great
painful.
player, dude.
Yeah.
Mix it up. We all know it's coming, dude. Can't you play off something?
Yeah.
You're the
And
best of the best. Let's mix it up.
yeah, great player, but boy, are we missing some fire out there with Diaz charging to the back line and centering it in, or overlapping with the fullback and doing some more dynamic things on the left.
R.I.P.
It's a
Joda,
tough.
man. We
Oh my
really miss
gosh,
Joda, dude.
totally.
I know it's hard to talk about, but I just feel
Well,
like we really miss him in so many ways. Eh, I think we really could use a guy like that coming off the bench. I thought Jota was best coming off the bench. He didn't seem to take it personally, or maybe he did, but he did something about it. Came on, was ruthless, one goal in mind, score goals, and I don't
Yep,
know that we really have that on the bench right now, and it's so evident.
absolutely. I mean, there's been so much said about the tragic circumstances and the loss of him and his brother's lives, and that goes without saying. It's just the worst possible thing. I mean, someone in the prime of their life that just got married a week before, it's just like horrific. But like you're saying, like there is a real his attitude, like I never remember seeing any drama from him. He knew who he was, and who he was a goal getter in a crowded box, poaching scruffy goals, and we needed it often in the second half. And he wasn't a perfect player. No one is,
No,
but
no.
but that kind of energy, um, was so helpful.
Hmm.
And yeah, I wish we could go back in time and change things. But
For
I
sure.
think Diaz, the incredible skill he brings, and of course I am a Darwin Nunez card carrying cult member. Not a popular choice sometimes, but like at least you knew you were getting energy and work rate and fire and something for defenses to think about.
Hmm.
Um, that's just different, you know. And yeah,
For sure.
he's not 100 million striker, but he could be a super sub, and I think
Hmm.
the fact that he was paid as a starter and as a superstar probably affected, but
And
his mentality.
he was a bit of a malcontent too, was also, I
Totally.
think, part of the issue. You know what I mean? I think if he
Yeah.
would have been a little bit better about handling his situation coming off the bench, then maybe it could have been resolved. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love how he would, you know, running down the field with like his hair is on fire. Same with Diaz. I don't know that we have that guy coming off the bench. Chiesa's got a little bit of that, but for whatever reason, slot doesn't seem to favor him, and the output hasn't really been there for Chiesa either. I think
Hmm.
he's still supposed to be getting healthy. How much more time are we going to give him? Um,
Yeah.
love the
I
guy,
mean,
but we need goals, man.
I yeah. No, I love Chiesa, but the three guys that we just talked about, um, you know, Diaz, Jota, and Nunez, like those guys all have more talent in the locker and more things to do, um, and just physical gifts.
Hmm.
And so, I can see we're hurting, but shifting to just um, a mid-season. Wait a second. No, we're still on American Idiot. I want to hear your American Idiot, contribution.
Please.
What's your question as a stateside, soccer fan watching the sport as we compare it?
Yeah, Ross. People may call me an American idiot, and I could understand that. But you mean to tell me we can't use Jamie Vardy right now, or a Jamie Vardy type player? You mean to tell me we couldn't use a Tim Ream type player? And what I mean by that, as we've discussed already, we're American sports fans, and it feels like with American sports, if you need a bat at the trade deadline, you go and get a bat. If you need a goal scorer in the NHL at the trade deadline, you go and get a goal scorer. And I just really have a hard time understanding why across the EPL, but especially with LFC, you mean to tell me that we can use a defender, maybe a little past his prime, happy to be here, that could come on and do the job as a professional? Kind of a James Milner type, but maybe more specialized for that particular position. We could use a defender and we could use a goal scorer, like we've already talked about. And I just have a hard time understanding where almost 20 days into January, and while I totally appreciate as a Raiders fan that we got to think about the future, that's totally valid. But we also have to think about the here and now. And it really seems like FSG sacrifices the here and now for the future. And I do struggle with that with the club.
Yeah, I see that. Like, let's get some mercenaries in here for 6 months to do a couple
Right?
things, like why is that not a thing? I don't know. Maybe there's some like contract structures that aren't normal or something. I don't know what the deal is, but maybe it's something that I truly am an idiot about and don't understand. But a glue guy, like a locker room presence, a veteran presence, especially a team that has so many new players.
Right?
It's not like you're throwing off the team by adding a new voice, it's like it's such a new team anyway. But of course, because FSG is very proactive about long-term planning, there it's a lot of young guys, like, guys in their early 20s or mid 20s who they could be superstars and they have huge talent ceilings, but like, yeah, I'm trying to, look, see if we have Joel Matip's cell phone number to see if he's been going to the
Right?
gym. Like,
Come on,
like
man.
how are your knees feeling, Joel? Like, what
We
are we
need
doing
you,
here?
dude. And
Like
that's not to
30
say
minutes
I'm
once in a while?
right. And I appreciate Van Dyke. I think he's been a good captain. That's not a knock on our captain, but I think he could use some help, man, or different voices, different perspectives. Yeah. Kalen Wilson just scored for West Ham in the last few minutes of the game. You mean to tell me we couldn't use that guy? They're wanting to get rid of him. All he did was score him a late goal to win the game. Sign me up. Sign me up, Ross. I don't understand.
Yeah, a few million pounds. Let's not, we're not doing 4-year contracts or anything, but and it doesn't have to be
Ka-
people who are,
Caleb,
yeah,
I, Caleb, listen. We need you to score goals. You're going to be here for the rest of the year. We're going to pay you well for the last little bit of your contract this year, and then we'll see what happens at the end of the year. But let's be honest, it's probably going to be for this year. I, we're all adults. We're all professionals. I think we could handle that type of a conversation. But
right.
I guess I'm an American idiot.
Well, yeah, I think we're used to that. We're used to, having a core of players that are your long-term players. But, one of my favorite players in the NFL of all time is a guy named Devin Hester, who is the greatest punt and kickoff returner of all time. His rookie year, he was just taking every kick. It seemed like if you were going to kick it to him with time for him to catch it and make one or two moves, he was gone. And he ended his career with my second favorite team because of my regional connection, the Seattle Seahawks. And it was like literally they picked him up for for the playoff run, and they're like, we aren't good enough in this area. We need you just to run back kicks. And it was really clear what the deal was, you know. And in his final game, he was doing it. He did an incredible job at that one specific thing. The Seahawks didn't win that game, but it wasn't because of him. And he did a specific thing to improve them and raise their level in a certain area of need. No one thought, hey, Devin Hester is going into the Hall of Fame as a Seattle Seahawk. No one
Right.
thought that.
Right.
He's a Chicago Bear. But there's a time and a place for an old head who knows what to do. I think, yeah, center back we talked about, maybe a utility striker of some sort, you know, or a forward of some sort. And, you know, maybe to upgrade, you know, on what Chiesa we all wish he could do. And a defensive midfielder. And that's a position where you can have a guy that, I don't know, maybe is not the fastest person in the world, but can control things and give some support to these center backs that we ask to do so much, because our fullbacks are always getting involved on the other end.
Right.
So it's like, man, give some support, but everyone, I don't know. I don't understand the obsession with Gravenberch. He's a good player. I like him. He does not need to play 90 every single week.
I think it's hurting him. I think we've seen the fall off. Like, he had an amazing year last year and was one of the main reasons why we won last year. But I think it's been a little bit too much this year. I think.
Well, and you
I
could see
I
it
feel
toward
like I
the
kind
end
of
of the
saw it in the
season.
last goal. I in the Burnley goal. I just didn't feel like he made his best effort. Konate owes some of that as well, but Gravenberch was right there at the scene of the crime too. People love to point out Konate, and deservedly so, but Gravenberch has been at the scene of the crime multiple times too.
Absolutely. And yeah, you know, it's just like, I think the previous manager brought in Endo really for a role kind of like what we're talking about, you know?
Right?
And it wasn't a 6-month thing, but it was like, hey, it's good to have a 6 who's a true 6.
And
Yeah,
happy
he's
to
in
be
his
here.
yeah, he's in his 30s, you know. No
Right?
one's expecting him to push for a Ballon d'Or,
And
but
he doesn't. He
he's
doesn't
an
expect it either.
international captain
Right?
of Japan, and that's not a small side in world football.
Right?
And I just, it's disrespectful, honestly, how much this manager doesn't even consider using that player. And, you know, that he makes the millions to coach the team, but I just think, you know, even when he's healthy, that he gets so little time that it's embarrassing.
Do we want to have
So
the conversation around slot now, or do you want to wait till later in the program?
oh man, you know, I'm sure you know, the social media takes care of all that, but I think just to quickly touch on it, I think it's probably pretty clear that Slot won't be coaching the team in August of 2026.
Oh, you think
In
so?
my opinion, I just feel like that's likely, but I guess I don't know what people are thinking, but you know, it's game after game where it doesn't seem like he has an answer for the problems that are going on. And it's never a good sign when the team gets worse as the game goes on, consistently. Like, and it's such a weird opposite from last year. It felt like last year, in the second half, we were better. We made adjustments and got better. This year, it's like the opposite. And yesterday's game against Burnley was a great example of that. Like, that was a pretty strong first half. You know, no one's going to record it and watch it over and over again because of excitement or anything, but we dominated the first half. We should have been up 2-0 because of the penalty that hit the bar. That happens, you know. But we should have, even without the penalty, we could have been up 2-0. Um, if there was a little bit more creativity at trying to attack the low block. I thought it was better than it has been. Again, nothing super fun to watch, but you can't blame Liverpool for all of that because these teams are, it's like a back six, and it's like half court. It's like we're playing half court basketball
Right?
where we're just like dinking it around the outside and trying to but half court basketball is not fun to watch, but there's things that you can do to make plays and create certain action. And a lot of times I'm just not seeing a lot of that. And it doesn't transfer perfectly from basketball to football, but where's the creativity in figuring out how to attack these things that teams do every single week to try to play against us? Where is it?
Yeah. I don't know, Russ. Are you ready for my hot take?
Let's have it.
I think it's no offense to you, Ross, and you're not going as hard as some of what we're seeing online, but I think it's lazy. I think it's trying to get clicks. I think Slot deserves more time. Klopp's not walking back through that door anytime soon. I think he's been handed an impossible situation. Could you imagine just keyword empathy? I know that's a word that has been kind of thrown into the mud lately, but I'm a big believer in empathy. Could you imagine the highlight of your career? You won the Premier League championship, the greatest of the greatest championship in football, domestic. And then you go from that to one of your players dying horrifically over the summer. You had a relationship with that individual in some capacity. But not only that, you have to help manage the mental health of your whole team that also just experienced that huge high, a high that is so rare. You know what I mean? It's not like we're Man City winning these championships all the time. We've won a couple in the past 10 years. It's a big deal. I can only imagine. And then again, on top of that, like we've all talked about, all the change, the huge transition on top of that, you're dealing with players that may have been super close to Jota and players coming in that have no relationship with that guy and managing the awkwardness of that. And then is it really that with all that on his plate, are we really doing that bad? We're in the championship league top four. I understand when we are down around 10 while people were very frustrated, but I think he's crawled back. We're steady. I know I certainly didn't like the result yesterday, but if you look across the league, the bottom of the league did really well this past weekend. I think, and as you described too, I think the whole league is struggling with the new development, the new tactics of, big bodies, slog football, crosses. He needs some time to be able to develop some new tactics to deal with this new Premier League that we haven't been seeing over the past few years. And it's really hard to win the league, man. Just ask Arteta. It's really hard to win the league. I don't think somebody that won the league last year should just be thrown to the wolves like he has been. I kind of wish that the club would come out in support for him. Maybe that would help calm things down. And if we want to point the fingers at people, doesn't Richard Hughes deserve a little bit of that? I know we like to call out Slot, and I'm not saying that he's been perfect this year by any means, but like we just talked about, Ross, Hughes, we need another bat. We need a kick returner. We need somebody to score goals and play defense. And we're 20 days into January, and we already lost out to Gooey. Like, who else is coming through that door? We need people. It's obvious to the naked eye. I think Hughes deserves some heat for that as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, fair enough. It's always an open question of if you want the manager out, who's coming in, you know?
Right?
And is that a stopgap thing while you find the real guy? And how does that go with the players? And how does that go with, the continuity of trying to capitalize on a team that we still have some of the greatest players of all time on our team? Probably the
Man,
greatest central defender in Premier League history, and probably the greatest pure attacker in Salah. So it's like we have these players on the team, and we're in a time to win silverware.
right?
So I can see the argument of not messing with the continuity. I don't have a huge opinion on it right now, because I just know that we don't know what it's like behind the scenes,
Right?
honestly. If the
Like, do
players
we
have
want to
given up
be
on, yeah,
do we want to be like Man United? I don't. I That looks horrible. How many managers, coaches they've gone through? Chelsea, I thought Maresca was doing good. Like, we want to be like Chelsea? I do not. I think they're
how many
certainly
coaches has
valuable.
Tottenham had this year?
Yeah, they're already calling for Frank's head. They're protesting. Like, come on, guys.
I
Like,
mean,
I
there's,
understand, but Rome wasn't built in a day. These things take time. Slot just won the league. Like, he just
yeah,
won the league. Like, and like you said, there's no amazing. We're gonna go to Alonso. How did that work out for Real? And I understand he definitely had some personalities that he was dealing with, but I don't think he's the next Jurgen either. I think Slot deserves the rest of this year. Maybe reevaluate, like you said, Ross, during the summer. Realistically, I think he should be given at least one more year, or at least time next year, see how things are going. If things are really falling apart and we have somebody that is a good replacement midway through the year, okay, I guess that makes sense. But just this constant rotating of coaches and managers does not seem like it's working for Man U, and not interested.
yeah. No, the chaotic, people in and out, that hasn't that's not that's not a fun look. So yeah, I'm definitely, I can be convinced. I just, for me it's reading tea leaves. It's like, who knows? They didn't extend his contract last summer after he won the league, which, what does that say? I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe it
it's
means the
interesting.
club was not impressed by, the 2025 performances after, honestly, Mohamed Salah became an absolute goal scoring machine.
Right. And assists.
And
Don't forget those assists.
yeah, like the productivity from August through December for Mohamed Salah last year was bizarre, like how great it was. In addition to playing a more controlled game, not conceding, it was an all around effort, including from Arne Slot, I'm sure. But I guess one thing you read the tea leaves is, why didn't they extend him if they felt like, hey, this is the guy? So who
Yeah,
knows?
for
But yeah,
sure.
I'm
And
all
then
for,
did you see sorry to interrupt, did you see
no,
is it Heitinga? So there was a backroom staff guy that left, went to Spurs. Now apparently he wants to come back, and apparently they declined his ability to come back. Um, that's interesting, you know.
yeah,
And that's another question for FSG. Like, are we fully supporting this guy?
hmm,
You know, I don't
yeah,
know, man. It's a tough one.
yeah. Well, let's just wrap things up with just, hey, overall mid-season review, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We can both just share, what are, let's focus on some good things, and it's not, we are not a super fun team to watch. And like you said, those videos of Salah, sometimes I'll just put on like the compilations of, the legendary front three
Yeah,
with Salah and Bobby, and Mane, and just
yeah,
watch. I'll just watch
right.
because it's like a pacifier for a baby or something. Like I
Oh,
need I need to watch some exciting football. and honestly, and it's fun to watch just the absolute legends that they were, and the movement and the excitement that was.
For sure.
But yeah, we can we're not that right now. But what's the good, the bad, and the ugly? But we're about midway point through the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, from your perspective.
Well, so bad and ugly. I mean, we kind of talked about that, and I don't want to harp on it anymore. I think, we definitely could use some more goal scoring. Definitely, defense has been shaky at times. I feel like the club's been nervy in general at times, which is unfortunate to see. Perhaps you could put that on slot. But as far as the good, again, considering where we were even a few weeks ago, I'm stoked that we're still fighting for Champions League. We're still in the Champions League. That's extremely exciting. FA Cup, we're still in the mix. Those are all things to be grateful for. Those are all good. I am so stoked on Ekatike. I'm really interested on how that's going to all play out when Isak gets healthy. He's been a joy to watch. I did not expect him to hit the levels that he's already hit this year. I thought he was going to be sixth on the list of new guys that I was going to be excited about. Just thought he was kind of an afterthought, and boy, have I been wrong. It's been very impressive seeing him, way far from goal, pick up the ball, carry it in, his ability to carry, the goals that he scores. I thought he was very slight, and I thought he was going to struggle with the physicality. Boy, have I been wrong. I'm sure you watched the game yesterday. He's very much the reason why Wirtz gets that goal, because of his effort and slaloming through all those guys. It was super fun to watch. Another good, especially lately, seems like Wirtz is definitely coming into form. He's super fun to watch when he's on. A couple of his slaloms didn't go quite the way we wanted it to yesterday, but his ability on the ball, his passing, it's very exciting. That goal that he scored yesterday, wonder goal. It was amazing. And of course, Dom. Everybody loves to talk about Dom. How could you not? His work ethic, all over the pitch. The goals that he scored against Arsenal, did not expect that at all. That was a jump out of your seat moment. Super exciting. Yeah, I think we're not where we want to be, and I totally get that. But especially with what we've been through as a club, I think there's a lot to say that is good about this year.
Yeah, I mean, I resonate with a lot of what you said. Say what you want, but these new players, particularly Wirtz, Ekitike, and Frimpong, I mean, the last several games, these guys are carrying us,
Right?
And Dom was carrying us early in the year.
Right?
But just, there is excitement in bits, the current
Yep.
game watching is not the most exciting thing, in part because,
No.
of course, the tactics that teams are playing across the league and against us. But I will say, man, Jeremy Frimpong he is a problem for people to deal with in
Right?
terms
He's
of
so
his
fast, dude. It's so rad.
explosiveness. Yeah,
Right?
and that has been encouraging, and
For sure.
to have him back. He's going to be
Dude.
hugely needed. Speaking of the ugly, Connor Bradley's injury was devastating,
Such a bummer, dude.
particularly for my wife.
Ugh.
She's a Connor Bradley stan, if there ever was one, almost to the point where it's concerning for me. But
Yeah, you good, dude? You good?
I'm good. I'm not the jealous type. But no, it's like,
You got my number just in case, right? We can talk it
yeah,
out.
we can talk that through if I'm having marital issues because she's obsessed with a 21-year-old kid from Northern Ireland.
Hey, man.
But
How could you not
hey,
be, to be fair?
I don't I don't blame her, and I'm
Right?
heartbroken. That's just another kind of low point, and being
Yeah,
heartbroken
that's a
for a
bummer.
kid who is he wanted to help his side play for a World Cup to get into the World Cup,
Uh,
in a month or two here, and
what's
you
his
know,
nickname again? Can you remind me of the nickname that we're going with for Connor?
the Irish Rover,
The Irish Rover, dude. Yeah. Sorry, I
and
forgot. How could I forget his
well,
amazing nickname?
I know it's funny though. He tends to show up against the biggest teams in the world and then doesn't have the best performances week to week. So, um,
That's fair.
and but he's a big part of this team, and so we need Frimpong to stay healthy to keep that
Oh,
right side good because um, I would have loved to have seen some like NHL hockey enforcer work after
dude.
Martinelli. I mean, people don't talk about his when he pushed him, um, like his left hand was on the knee. What was on the knee that Bradley had hurt? He was shoving, his right hand was on Bradley's side, but he was literally shoving the knee that this kid had to go have surgery on a few days later. And
I
anyway,
missed that
that's just
part, but the thing that I didn't really like is when it got up around his neck. Pushing is one thing, but then when you're getting up around the neck, like the fact that he didn't get a red card, I have a real hard time understanding why he didn't
yeah,
get a red. The ball dropping, that's one yellow. And then
yeah,
the second, and it was a violent act. Why is that not a red? Imagine if you would have scored a late goal against us, how furious we all would have been and how cruel that would have been. There's no way he should have remained on the pitch after all that.
yeah.
No way.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I would have been fine with Kanate getting a red card dealing with him, or
You're amongst
just
friends, Ross. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
Or
the
somebody from
biggest
the
fight.
bench. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but that was
Gomez
totally
comes
out of
in
line.
and just instead of coming over and giving him the palms push, just
Yeah.
a just a shoulder to the sternum
You know, good
would have
body
been
check. Doesn't hurt anybody
refreshing.
too much.
So had to talk about that just because it's therapeutic. Because yeah, that's a tough moment. But
Yeah,
like you said, I know that again, it's a weird sport when it's an accumulation of points that wins your biggest prize.
right.
And I think, again, as an American sports fan, I'm used to having teams that are, you know, above 500. They win more than half their games. And okay, let's get in the playoffs and see if we can make some noise here.
Right.
So for me, I've switched off the Premier League title. We're still celebrating that one from last year, but
Hmm.
there are competitions that are playoff competitions left to be won, and the
Right.
Champions League is one of them. And
I,
so let's get into
I
the
think we're a
knockout
tough
round.
out, man. I think we're a tough out. Who wants to play
We're not
us? You know what I
conceding.
mean?
We're not
On
conceding as much.
any given day,
Yeah.
we can beat any team any given day. You never know.
Yep.
I think we have as good a shot as anybody. I think Bayern looks really tough, don't get me wrong, but outside of that, I think we've got as good of a shot as anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, it's fun to see what happens. Like, um, I'm excited for that. I am excited for the FA Cup. It's like, hey, this is a prestigious old tournament, like this
Right?
is like I love that it has, like, again, I'm sorry to make American comparisons, but like, hey,
We
we're
are
Anfield
American
Index
idiots.
USA. But like it's like the NCAA tournament. You have these little
Yeah.
teams from these little towns coming into these big stadiums and causing problems for the big dogs. And it's like, that's awesome.
Right?
Um,
Sure looks like it
I wish,
matters to them.
yeah, I
You
wish
know?
Dom wouldn't have been so cocky against Barnsley, because
Yeah.
I think he put on, like, that performance overall was just absolutely masterful.
Right.
But two things: he didn't celebrate after his freaking worldie, which to me it's like, I think he's like, okay, I'm humble. I'm not going to celebrate. This is, we should be scoring against this team. But to me, that's like even more disrespectful. It's
Right.
like if you hit a shot like that, run to the corner, jump up in the air, and like scream at from the top of your lungs, because
I'm
it's
taking my
more
shirt
respectful.
off.
Yeah, it's like
I'm doing
I'm
a
taking my
loop. I'm doing
shorts
a
off
loop
after
around the
that.
stadium, right?
But and then later on, he's dinking around in front of the goal, and he gives that
Uh,
kid that was in the Liverpool academy, he gives him a chance to score in front of the cop. So hey, fair play. But
yeah, he was
no,
just being nice. Who knew?
just a funny just a funny performance from like this player who has been so incredible. But
Right,
I digress. The broader point is, hey, yes, it's not as big of a deal as the Premier League title, but let's go win the FA Cup. Let's
right,
have a cup final and actually play well in it, like we didn't in the Carabao Cup last year, and
right.
get it, because we're not too cool for that. At least I'm not. Like, I'd love to see them put a trophy on the wall, especially one of the oldest, you know, tournaments, domestic, cups. It's awesome. It's a cool tournament. It's a cool competition. Why don't we just go win it?
I want all the
So that's
trophies. Give me all of them,
yeah,
Russ.
yeah. Not too cool for that. Hey,
No, man.
Sean, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being a part of my local community here. We'll definitely have you on here again just to continue either commiserating about things that are frustrating, or celebrating some good things, or most likely just doing both, like we've done today. So thank you. Up the
Thank you,
Reds,
Russ. Up the
and
Reds.
everyone out
So
there.
grateful to have been able to be on this. Thanks for having me, man. It's
Of course.
been a lot of fun. Even though I'm a fellow American idiot, hopefully I contributed to the conversation. And you never walk alone, man.
You never walk alone. Well, hey, it's about self-awareness. We know that we have a lot to learn as we continue to just go deep into the cult of this club. But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky at Stateside Scouser. Feel free to share your thoughts, your American Idiot questions for other USA supporters who are continuing to get into this. And yeah, everyone just be good, and we'll see you next time.